Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us here at Luxxfolio's channel. Hope everyone's having a nice, warm holiday season, getting to see your family and all that good stuff and staying safe. Sitting here once again with Dean. Dean, how are you holding up, my good man?
Holding up well. Thanks very much, Michael. Holding up well.
Good. Glad to have you on. So, it's been a rather exciting time in the crypto markets. I would say this past month, there was a giant dip, had everybody freaking out. And the reasoning is a lot of people, this is their first big dip. They aren't experienced in it. While a lot of the more tempered hands are like, guys, this is normal, stay the course, everything will be fine. A lot of people still freaking out. So, Dean, how do you feel about that?
You know what? I'm probably like everybody else. I'm always amazed with the volatility and the things that go on in the Bitcoin market. We signed up for this. It is part of the opportunity, is the volatility, and I think in our particular case, it was a little more harrowing this time because we were in the middle of doing a $9.5 million financing that was sort of hanging in the balance. So as we sit right now, I'm feeling really good because we got our money. We've secured the company. The company is completely or significantly de-risked, but that does not take away the volatility in the underlying commodity. That's going to be there for a while, and it's going to be a wild ride. But it's one that I'm excited to be on because I think there's nothing but opportunity ahead for us.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, the volatility is a part of this game. I think people need to understand that it's not going to level off even in Bitcoin, which is in the world of crypto one of the most stable of the actual currencies that exist.
Yeah, we're operating sort of with a relatively blue chip commodity. I think a lot of people have called me over the past couple of weeks going, "Hey, Dean, should I be worried?" And my answer to that is Luxxfolio specific. I think, as I said, we've significantly de-risked the company. We are, we've got a really strong balance sheet. We've got, as people know, we're in control of our own destiny as it pertains to power. Lots of hardware coming in 2022. And so my question back to them when they ask if they should be worried, to the degree that you believe in Bitcoin, that you believe in, a decentralized banking system, decentralized ledgers, all these types of things, to the degree that you believe that is the future, is the degree to which you should be worried. So I think Lux is in good shape. Bitcoin's in good shape. However, it's had a hell of a year. I think it's up still 70% on the year or something like that. It's just given some back in the short term here, and I think that we can. That's the one thing I think we can count on, is that we can't count on Bitcoin moving in one direction or another in the short term. With any confidence.
Never try to do that. I don't know, Dean, if you had seen this, but yesterday coin market cap fritzed out so bad it pumped the value of all the currencies by times I think it was times 2 million. Bitcoin's price per coin was up to $80 billion.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was fun. I do some mining myself, and I was mining apparently $2 million of Raven coin a day.
See, and that's just a good feeling, isn't it? Isn't that just a good feeling? Yeah. I think one of the best things that I've seen in the last 2 weeks has been Anthony Pompolino's podcast with Jason Lowery. Jason Lowery, for those of you that don't know, he's an engineer of some sort on Space Force, and his take on Bitcoin as a weapons system was just mind-boggling, because he talked about a weapon system not being offensive or defensive. They can be either one. Physics doesn't really care if it's an offensive system or a defensive system. And the idea that that we have a potential to have a money system that doesn't involve kinetic energy. Kinetic energy being, a bomb, a bullet, a punch in the face, a missile, a tank, any of those types of things. Well, our money system, what he says is our money system is completely enabled by the use of kinetic energy as it pertains to militaries.
Yeah.
And here's a guy sitting in full fatigues talking about his enthusiasm over an electric energy money system that doesn't involve, any militaries, that doesn't involve, any of the ugliness that we've sort of learned to live with over the last 2,000, 3,000 years, was really enlightening. And hearing someone talk about it in terms of just money in terms of science, it did more to sort of explain not Bitcoin, but explain money. And once we understand money, and you get introduced to Bitcoin, suddenly you can go, oh my goodness, I can see how this technology can solve, many of the things that are going on right now. Anybody that hasn't watched Pomp's interview with Jason Lowry, do it. It's my holiday gift to you.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to check it out after this as well. Dean, as you were talking about that there, I kind of had a somewhat of an epiphany related to these ideas, right? And the idea is kind of the progression of humanity towards being more and more symbolic creatures. And you had seen this back when previously when we wanted something, we would sacrifice for. You would sacrifice an actual thing like a goat, or some people would actually sacrifice other people. But the whole idea was inherently to make things better for everybody, right? That was kind of the idea. And then we moved to doing that through different religions symbolically. You would symbolically sacrifice as opposed to literally do so. And I feel like currency's headed in that same path too. If you really look at it, it started out very largely, I don't know, here's my banana, Dean, give me a lobster. You know what I mean? Like, here's a bushel of bananas for lobsters. And it turned into...
I'm giving you a lobster for a banana? You're a hell of a trader.
I mean, it depends. I mean, if you think about it, lobsters are all over the ocean. I had to grow this banana. But anyways,
right. Yeah, fair enough.
my point is, then it turned into IOUs. And then from there, IOUs turned into official currency backed by actual goods over time, slowly. And then from there, went into fiat currency. And now it's turning into electronic currency, which, as you said, removes what was the kinetic energy tied to the fiat currency, which is the power of the big stick, right? So
that's right.
We're now getting rid of a lot of the actual connotations of, hey, there's force empowering this, and we're going to almost entirely symbolic. I would just say it's an evolution.
Yeah, the idea that people talk about the US dollar being sort of the currency of war. And his take on that was, yes, that's true. However, anything of value has been fought over. It does not matter. I mean, the entire United States, every inch of land has been transacted through the use of kinetic energy, riding on horseback with the cavalry to, displace the Native Americans, all that type of stuff. All of that stuff was kinetic energy that was used, and it was always, 100% of the time it's violent, and there's bloodshed, and there's all those types of things. Super exciting to think that we've evolved our way to a place where we no longer have to fight, because I was always of the opinion that we're humans and we will always fight over things. We will always try and kill each other. I had a very pessimistic view of it. And here's a military guy in Space Force that's saying that doesn't necessarily have to be true in the future if we embrace Bitcoin. So again, it was super eye-opening. It really sort of spun my head around a lot.
Well, let's look at that for what you had said there. Like, yes, there is a level of force behind the US dollar and so on. That's kind of inevitable. That is true, but it's not entirely negative. We do whatever is the most effective at solving the problem or getting what we want through competition, right? So Previously, it was okay. Yeah, we're just going to take this literally by force. And then over time, you know, it's somewhat more evolved now. I won't say we don't do things by force, but often if someone's doing something we don't like, we use sanctions now instead. We try to do things through the market to try to disincentivize them to do the thing we don't like.
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit farther on that, I would say.
Well, but I would say, you know, that's the US. But I mean, I think that when you look around the world, things that are happening in, you know, Africa, you know, civil wars and whatnot, those are fighting over resources, right? They're using kinetic energy to acquire resources, whereas you know, the argument for Bitcoin is the opposite of that. We don't have to do that anymore. We can move this energy electrically and at the speed of light, and
yeah,
and so on and so forth.
I think that's the key, is that with the introduction of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology as a whole, it disincentivizes the other options because they're less appealing.
Yes, exactly. They're too expensive. Funny
Yeah.
enough, they're too expensive. So we've got, you know, people on, you know, congressional hearings talking about, you know, how much power and how expensive the Bitcoin network is. And again, I talk about this a lot. Then they're comparing it to the, you know, electrical use of Norway. I will guarantee you that when people understand the real use case and what it's replacing in terms of kinetic energy and violence and all of that type of stuff, it's a bargain. It is an absolute bargain, and it's one that I'm super excited to see how it plays out over the next couple of years, because I think that with the, you know, with the rapid adoption and the expansion of the ecosystem, it is going to get on us really, really fast, and we're going to see all kinds of changes. And if you listen to, you know, Jason Lowry, it even, you know, it pertains to military, right? It's an exciting time for sure.
Yeah, you know, Dean, I guess to wrap it up, I have a little vision of the future here, whether or not it comes true. I think everyone can agree that China's kind of growing significantly in terms of political power. Military might too, I'm sure, but I bet that the US government would be singing a different tune about other cryptocurrencies gaining power if the US dollar was no longer the world currency.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I would wonder, it's interesting, would they, if they weren't the world's reserve currency, would they be banning Bitcoin? And how would they make that jive with the Constitution and the, you know, the ability to own property and all that type of stuff, and the rule of law and all those types of things? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. So who knows? But I think we'll see that play out. I feel like the China's still growing rapidly, and that US doing its best, but I think China's outpacing us. So we'll see what happens if the world currency flips.
We will see.
But Dean, thank you for coming on again. Pleasure tapping you as always.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Hope you all follow us into 2022, and I will see you there. Have a wonderful day.